Come on, YouTube. I want you to stream. Holy crap. Why you gotta be so bad? Come on. There you go. Just start streaming. There we go. Looks like we have a show going. Alright, copy that. We paste it there. And we do one of these. And we tweet the thing. And we retweet the thing. All right, good evening, people. We should be bringing the stream up now. Oh, last one. We have to go there. All right, that looks like a show. A show is running on everything. Good evening, everyone. Hope you guys have been enjoying the new year so far, as long as you don't watch the news. We've had a really productive week here behind the scenes, and if you've been following the Eve Prosper Twitter, we've been publishing. So we had office hours this last Saturday, which again, you should be subscribed to us to catch them. They tend to be pretty impromptu, like when I wake up way too early for breakfast and my wife is still asleep. Then we can have a thing. All right, and we're going to put that to do not disturb so I don't get fired. Words. So yeah, I've been trying to get, at the absolute minimum, I want to do 1 office hours a month. At the best, I'd really like to be able to do them once a week, an extra 2 hours on the air. If I can finish the project that I've been working on during office hours, it'll make it a lot easier to have a little bit of extra time. Like we'll have my Wednesday nights back, for instance, if I can finish the project I've got right now. That's been coming along pretty decently. Trying to automate it so that I can just press one button and the spreadsheet, the entire presentation just shows up like magic. So we got the big first half of that done, where it's the really. Am I just not like broadcasting correctly? Because I don't see anyone on Twitch. The first big part of that is automating the plotting batch in a way that doesn't totally suck, and managed to get that up and running pretty decently this weekend. It still needs a little bit more work. Like I still need to get 3 more plots brought in. And I still don't have a solution for the Z killboard data because I have to add a new utility for Z Killboard. I need to add a new table so that there's something to actually work against. Because otherwise the plots take too fucking long to render. All the kills of the last year takes like 45 minutes to run because the tables suck. And there's no reason that should be done, especially when there's I only need 365 rows. Like, there's no fucking reason it should be that bad. So let's see. Let's see. Don't know why Twitch isn't showing my viewer counts. Oh, there they are. Okay, excellent. I'm going to pause that because YouTube takes more bandwidth. And we're going to mute that so that we don't get interrupted. So usually we get more people in here at the start so you can actually have questions. If you have questions here in the pre-show, the show doesn't start until the top of the hour. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we can talk about them. Otherwise, I'm going to talk about DevFleet stuff because my life is the most interesting thing in the world. I'm writing tests for the test framework so that devs can write tests for their tests. Like, it's turtles all the way down here this week at work. Oh my god, such a pain in the ass. I mean, it's great. Once it runs, it'll be amazing. And that I get the smug superiority of, like, it's not my framework that's broken, it's your test. Seeing as I just wrote up all the tests to make it friggin' bulletproof. Then I get to be that petulant dev who's like, I'm sorry, it's not my framework, it's your test. And yeah, I get to be that guy. I get to grow up into the thing I hated at the last job. I get to write the frameworks. I get to make the asinine decisions. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, well, thank you. It shouldn't be that bad. I'm usually better behaved. That one, that one. That bad. I'm usually better behaved. Yeah, no, it's fine. That's pre-show, so yeah. Let's see, I actually have all the graphs done before going on the air this week. If you can believe that. Usually every week, what do I say? I get in here and I'm like, oh, sorry guys, I gotta finish making up the show plots so we have something to talk about. And I actually have them all done because I wonder if I can actually show this off on the stream. It's not going to look like much, but let's see. Let's see. That button. So we have, come on. Oops, set up test. We have coverage on our loggers here, like I'm a big boy dev, which will make my sysadmin shit his pants just a little bit. We hide that so that, ta-da, all of the things show up. We get passing, we get coverage. Oh, by the way, speaking of coverage, so I went ahead and integrated some new tools into our test stuff, so that you can actually run this and feel like you actually can trust the numbers. I just put a task together on our GitHub. So if you give me just a minute to bring that up. Come on. Really unresponsive. I don't know what your problem is. I just want to make sure it doesn't have my login credentials when I need to get in. So, I guess this is as good a time as any to talk about it. I have been trying to get the word out, and I just don't think anybody listens to me, that I will offer code bounties for helping us develop the platform. And so half of this is my fault, because I owe you guys some better jumping off points, because right now it's like, please feed me data because I want it, and please just gimme. So I'm trying to go put together some things where I will get to them eventually, and but if you do them for me, I will send you Plex, because they are important to do, and you'll save me a weekend of work, essentially. So for instance, like what we're seeing here, if I zoom it in so you guys can actually read it, maybe, is that I want to improve the coverage number on the common logger package. All Prosper apps use the same logger. This means that we have automatic access to things like a Discord handler for error alerting. We have all the logs are parsable with the same syntax. They all use the same style and syntax and pathing. It's what they're there for. So everything talks the same talk. And so I need help getting the coverage up, because I went through and found out that I'm missing a good amount of coverage here in the test. And so when I run the test platform, as you can see right here, as it washes out, my logging coverage is only 82%, and these are the lines that need some love. I've gone ahead and added hooks into the Prosper Common framework. That one. Pretty frack. Common logging. No, not logging. Into tests. Logging test. I've gone ahead and added some tests that need doing that will hit the coverage points we're missing. And if you wanted to fill these out and you wanted to build a pull request for this issue, I will hand you Plex. Easy peasy, right? If you don't know what you're doing, so writing Python tests, I don't think is a beginner thing to do. Just because there's some, it helps to at least kind of understand what you're doing with Python. So if you're coming into it like, I want to learn Python, I don't know anything, this might not be the task for you. But if you are, for instance, this is a topic I wanted maybe 6 months ago, where I was expected to write unit tests and it was not clicking at all. And so I spent a lot of consternation trying to figure out what even looks like a good unit test. How do I organize things to make good unit tests? If that's the sort of thing you're looking to do, where you want to know what automated testing really means, this is the kind of task that we can talk about. Feel free to stop by the Discord. Links to join are down below in the info, and we can talk about it. I know this isn't the sexiest part of the project. I'm working on getting more tasks together, sort of grading them from like easy peasy, entry level kind of stuff, all the way up to expert mode, try hard stuff. So that if you wanted to learn Python, if you wanted to participate and contribute to the show, if you wanted to earn your space living with code, that there would be opportunities to do so. But like, for instance, the other one, I don't remember if I made this one. I don't think this one's open public. Nah, these aren't. I should do these. So yeah, that's my I'll pay you to code spiel. And if you don't know what you're doing, that's fine. Come hang out in the Discord. Let's talk about it. And I believe that it may look difficult, but it is not difficult. And that the only thing that needs done is some time, some effort. None of this stuff is high grade math. None of this stuff is high grade comp sci. It's just automation and testing and profiling and these sort of middle level tasks that need to get done. But like, if I do them, then I spend all my time doing the low level small stuff, and you guys never get new models. I'm not able to go spend my time writing new data science stuff because I'm writing tests for my units. I'm writing scrapers. I'm writing pipelining. I'm doing debug. I'm doing all of this infrastructure work, and I have zero time to do the inventive new work that moves the show forward, like writing a graphing package, or building up a website, or adding APIs so you guys can use our data. Like, these are things that I can do, and they're frankly not that difficult, but I can't get to them until everything else higher on the task list is done. So that's automating the slide deck. That's adding the new scrapers in. That's unit testing all of the production code so that we have decent coverage, especially on our common modules, so that whenever you import Prosper Common, you have everything you need. Like, the less of that I have to do, the more we can get done here on the show. And I get asked rather commonly, at least twice a month, like, "Oh man, I'd love to learn Python, and to be honest, I'd love to teach you, but you got to show up." I came from bad code beginnings, so I totally understand how daunting it is to go from I can't even write hello world to what is all of this magic. But the honest truth is, nothing we're doing here is that skookum. It's just if we write it well enough, we don't have to think about it. Is I guess is the thing. Is I just need it there. I need it reliable enough, and we can get it running and standing and get stuff out to you guys. So. So we got, oh shoot, I still got another 10 minutes to kill for you guys before the show starts. Again, I'm so used to having to having to scramble with putting the show together that I don't think you can do Python on a 2E. You could do C. But no. We're doing it in Python. That's non-negotiable. That is the part of my dictatorship here, is that we are a Python project. Period. Yeah, Fullerides were rising and nanotransistors were rising. Actually, everything is rising this week. Like, it's if you were bought in last week, odds are in your favor that you're looking at a profit this week, no matter what you bought. It was a really weird week. Come on. Stupid fucking Discord, man. So, I don't know if it's like the war machine is done running and now everyone's going back to refill. Like, it is a weird week in the markets this week. But we'll talk about it on the show for sure. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? To give the weekly in-depth review of the things. Nope, that's not the button. That's the button we want to look at. I mean, let me go check. Let me go check if Fullerides are worth talking about. I don't think they are, but I might be wrong. Fullerides aren't worth talking about, man. I'm sorry. Bad news, boy. We're going to talk about nanotransistors. We're not going to talk about Fullerides. Spoilers. This plus what are they called? Neodymium is up. And technetium isn't up. Technetium isn't up. I forget what the last part was. Okay. And I promise not to give Random Boy too much crap about losing 1 day's worth of data. We had a migration and seems one of the boxes didn't really come back, and then it didn't phone home about not coming back, and Yeah, this is why I've done all of this infrastructure work. Is that one, we rely on Linux to keep us up. Uh, don't don't do manually what you can automate. And two, everything's hooked up so that nothing fails silently. I had some halfway okay ideas in the past, but actually integrating them and using the built-ins for Python is a way better way to work on things than to homebrew every little piece of shit in your architecture. Um, Pro tip. Let's see. We got about 5 minutes before the show starts. Let me see if I can actually do the spiel correctly. And not feel like I have cotton balls in my mouth. All right, so we're about to start the show in like 5 minutes. So I'm going to do the week over week FAQ that we talk about every time before we start the show. Welcome if this is your first time tuning in. I'm Lockefox. You're about to watch the Eve Prosper Market Show. We talk about all of the Eve economy news for the last week. The show is brought to you thanks to our patrons and thanks to a tool set that we have running in the background. The tools make this show possible. So you'll have to pardon me if when you guys don't have questions, I'm going to fill this show up with DevFleet talk. If you want to know how the show is made, we do all of our data is public data. And so we use the Crest endpoints, we use Eve Central, we use zKillboard to collect our data. Then that goes into our own servers that host the data in our own database. Then we run analytical tools to do the outlier analysis every week, looking for stuff that's weird and then trying to figure out why it's weird. It's usually a pretty decent way to get ahead of the curve when weird things are happening in game. The plots are made using R. Same things that CCP Quant uses to build his graph porn. We do very similar work. Yeah, can we not? And come on, Twitch. Why you gotta be this way? I swear I could do that, but now I can't. The hell's the button even do? Okay, whatever. Please don't. I tried to be nice and not have to do that, but seeing as I don't have automod, I'm just going to ban you. So don't be an idiot. Right, where was I? Train of thought. Right, we make all of our graphs the same way Quant does. He just has better data. If you want to participate in the show, we are live every week at 0400 on Friday nights game time. That's Thursday night US. Also, be sure to join our brand shiny new Discord, linked down in the show info down below. We also simulcast to both Twitch and YouTube, so the YouTube stream is at higher quality because Twitch is weird. And that's gonna have to be, that's just the way things are, so feel free to tune in on whatever platform suits you. Feel free, so I don't tend to answer questions during the show while we're doing the main show. I will answer questions at the end. We'll do about a 30-minute Q&A afterwards. I do read the chat during the show, so you won't be missed. I just can't really respond while trying to get through what we got to get through to do what needs to be done. So, with that, I'm going to finish pressing the buttons here. Make sure that everything's skookum and running the way it's supposed to. Oh, because I'm competing against the Nintendo Switch presentation. That would do it. And AGDQ. That's fine. It's fine. All right. Give me just a minute to do the things like I'm a professional. All right, good evening and welcome to another episode of the Eve Prosper Market Show. I'm your host, Lockefox, and I'm here with all of the Eve economy market news you need to get ahead of the markets this week. With that, we're going to start where we usually do, talking about just some quick show news. Just to do a quick overrun, I want to thank everybody who has joined our brand shiny new Discord. Links to join are down in the information below. If you want to chat with us live, if you want to get in touch with me directly, that's going to be your very best avenue these days. I am still active and watching the Tweet Fleet Slack, so those channels are not completely dead. They're just quiet. Also, you can reach me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Eve Prosper. I do read my in-game Eve mail, and for some reason, a few people do reach out to me on Facebook, which is like the longest possible way to get in touch with me. But if you reach out to me, I do try to answer back all of the emails, all of the comments. I want to thank what is that? It wasn't Massively OP, was it? We got featured somewhere. No, yeah, we got featured on Massively Overpowered. They did a rundown of 5 YouTube channels you should be watching and featured us at the top of the article. So I want to put a big thank you out to that crew. Though to respond to the feedback, edits aren't coming back. I can't do it. I don't have the free time anymore. They're extremely expensive time-wise, and they do not they do not show in the metrics as much as people think they do. It's just the way things are. We'll see about doing more office hours in the future is a thing I'd like to be able to do for you guys, so that there's more time with me in direct contact with you guys. But spending 2.5 hours editing the show off air, I don't think is the best use of the very little time I have left to play the game. So thank you for the feature. I'm sorry to all of the fans who disagree. I'm sorry. I just do not have the real lifetime. Work is nutso. I'm booked solid until the end of February, and then I'm booked solid even going beyond that. So I just can't devote that kind of time anymore. I'm sorry. With that, if you do enjoy what we give you anyway, this is the worst segue to this segment ever. Do consider supporting our Patreon. Our patrons do keep us on the air every week. They keep our server paid for. They keep the lights on. They keep us in the software we need. They make this show possible. They make it ad-free. No content is ever locked behind a wall here. And you can thank the patrons for that. And if you want to support the show, if you enjoy what I do, if you believe in try-hard analytics for a virtual economy, then please, even $1 goes an extremely long way, and your support is greatly appreciated. If you can't support us monetarily, that is perfectly fine. No judgment here. But we would always appreciate more subscribers, more engagement. This being an economic show, I do like seeing numbers going up and to the right. So if you just subscribe and tell your corp about your favorite market podcast, that would also be excellent. But with that, now that I have droned on for all of my time that I'm allowed to for here, let's go ahead and get started right into the news. We start where we always do, with Plex showing a little bit of strength in these first few weeks of January. So if you've been watching the show for a while, let me go ahead and recap where we are. So in December, I had a quite weak prediction for Plex coming into January. Was expecting things to fall in the new year with all the new alphas and with threats to citadels. Unfortunately, we didn't see that come through, and now with trends pointing the opposite of what we expected, Plex is tracking up. So I did say last week that I thought it was about time to I'm shit. I can't unban him right now. I'm sorry, man. This is what we get for not having easy tools. So I'm sorry, Scarecrow. I'll unban you when the show is done. My bad, but I don't have fine-grained tools, and I'm just one guy trying to run this thing. So sorry. Anyway, like I was saying, Plex is trending up. I did say last week it was a good time to get in on the market, and that particular door is closing, I believe. If you were looking to stock up, if you were sitting on the fence and not sure if you should be buying your next 10 Plex now or later, I would jump in now. With war activities looking to be petering out, economically speaking, The signals show that Plex could be in for quite a rise into February. I hate to return course and be such a turncoat, and be like, oh yeah, no, it's down, and oh no, it's now it's facing up, now it's up. But honestly, the problem was I did not have access to the December economic report, and the cash values that were reported there were the exact opposite of what I was expecting. So that means that my previous Plex foray was incorrect, and we are adjusting it now. And so Plex is positive. Now, I don't think it's going to be extremely positive. If we get back to 1.1 by the end of the month, I will count that as about the pace I expect. That would be a little bit fast considering how little month is left. But also remember that now that we're past the second week of January, we should be expecting CCP developers back at home, gearing up the hype train for FanFest and for the summer release. So I would be expecting, if you have a positive outlook and you are looking forward to whatever the next big thing is going to be, buying Plex right this second is probably your bet to make. If you're cautious, you might get lucky in the next 7 days that will overcorrect. But I'd like to remind anybody who's a particular chart follower that Plex doesn't really respect the overbought line. It only respects the oversold one. So we tend to, if you think that it's going to crash up into this blue line here, saying that it's rising too high too fast, you might be wrong, because Plex don't care what you think. Looking at the supply chain, we can really see what's going on under the hood. Again, the sort of magic number I have in my head is 1,000 Plex on sale is the number I expect to see. And we're starting to slump down to 750 on sale at the moment. And that's going to continue to put positive pressure. So we have 1, extra cash in the system, 2, less Plex in the system, and 3, high volatility. Like we're looking at pretty high volatility as far as traffic is going in the market. So positive. These are all positive indicators in my book for Plex. Moving on to the other RMT markets, things are staying still stable where we expect them. We're still seeing a lot more positive margin on extractors than I really expected. If we look back, the margin tends to track with Plex really tightly. But over the last month or so, we've seen the positive margin on injectors continue to just creep out of pace with Plex. And I'm not really sure what's driving that. It doesn't seem like the skill trading market has got hotter or colder in the interim. And I mean, the sales are about the same that they have been every time. So I don't really see, I don't know what's driving this particular behavior beyond just the ARM, the very slight conversion rate for ARM being better that way. And then if we look at the skill trading markets, margins are slipping, but they're still pretty positive considering the costs. As Plex rises, though, expect these to converge pretty darn quickly. So if you're looking to cash out some of your zombie farms, and again, zombie farms are the sort of thing where you are just using the character to siphon off the skill points for sale. the door is shutting for your last big chance to get good margin. And it's the last time that you're going to be able to lock in the sub 1.1 billion-esque prices in Plex for, I want to say, until May, but that's a really hard statement to stand by without seeing what the FanFest market, the FanFest presser would look like. Jeez, this is hard. Again, zooming in on injectors, again, we see that the supply and demand is staying really steady just at that 1K mark. Prices are slumping just in track with probably just a slight extra oversupply. I think things have been a little bit quieter this week than they have been in the past, but I mean, there's nothing really exciting here other than the perimeter Citadel exploding, and this is we're not seeing that behavior in these numbers. Moving on to our market indexes, just to take a look at the general market overall. Again, things are staying the way we expect them. The RMT markets here on the top are staying level. Despite prices starting to rise, we're not seeing net trade increase, which says to me that the actual business is a little bit slow. And again, this is another thing in my personal gut tuning that I would be buying in on a lot of these items. These are really good signals if you want to buy in. But the more I say they're really good signals, the more I worry that my Feridian luck is going to come and kick me in the ass. The other important thing is we keep seeing the climbing in minerals going on. The volumes are going up. The prices aren't falling as fast as I expected with as much volume as coming out. And again, as I said last week, holy crap, looking at Delve and how productive they are. If you want to know more on my particular thoughts about the Delve numbers in the economic report, do check out the latest Talking in Stations. I was on there. I think we started talking in the last 30 minutes of it about it, and I went into how productive they are, and if you wanted to wear some tinfoil, just what that means in the longest terms, with the way that Imperium tends to set meta rather than follow it. So that's going to be really interesting over the course of 2017. If they can keep up the productivity that they're doing, they could really be leading the meta shift in EVE Online in this post-Ascension age. And I don't know where they're going with it. My crystal ball is still foggy there. But the activity there says to me that super cap meta is just going to be another rung like regular capital meta, and death to supers will no longer be a like if I'm going to go look at my crystal ball and really start going crazy, is that the long time call of death to supers is going to become pretty moot with the amount of supers that will be moving around, that them exploding will just become standard ISK war kind of measurements. So we'll see where that goes. I'm really interested in exactly what's going on there. Next, the total destruction is still up, though we can see activity is starting to wane. Do not pay any attention to this dip on the graph. That is a bug on our end. The the general trend seems to be a little bit lower than I expected. With all of the chest beating the last couple of weeks on Reddit and all the meta and everything, I did expect this winter war to be hotter, but it just seems to be a shitpost forum war from the numbers I'm looking at. The heat still seems to be on the backs of Ascension free-to-play players more so than nullsec sovereignty warfare. So I'm not sure exactly what to make of it in the short term. Again, I'm glad to see the trillion ISK a day kind of destruction pace. I just don't know when to expect things to start coming down. Moving in, hold on one sec. Moving into minerals to go look at some other market trends. I am so sorry that my transitions are garbage this week, you guys. I'm usually better at this. So titanium is staying steady at 5.0. I was expecting it to fall slightly, but we're just not seeing the extra supply come through that I was expecting. But the buy order supply is heading up pretty sharply, and it seems like this might be a ripple from the perimeter citadel getting exploded, and the prices. This signals prices down, but as I've said in the past, trying to forecast off of the buy volume number is difficult, since it's really easy to hack the buy order number to not be real. Yeah, it needs some. It's a downward signal, but we're not seeing the supply to back it up. So I think that a lot of these buy order guys are going to be disappointed. Actually, I mean, it could be a positive price signal pressure, but I just don't see it. I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway, pyrite is staying steady, tracking up very slightly to 7.5. Again, volumes are lower than I expected. I really expected to be at the 6 or 7 billion units mark. And as long as we're this short, I think we'll be in a slightly positive sort of operation. So if you can get a particularly good buy order on a Citadel with very low fees, at what, buying at 6.5 means you need to make 7.2 ish, right? I wouldn't be a terrible play. I think that the markets are trending upwards, but gambling in the mineral markets can be very foolish, and I don't think the signals are that strong towards positive price growth. I just don't think you'll lose money if you invest in it. I just don't think you'll make a ton of money. Mexilon continues its rise, cresting over 70 ISK per unit. We've been seeing it strong since the Ascension release. The supplies continue to dwindle. This is actually pretty surprising because I expected HiSec to be more productive with alphas, but when when the markets are so hot for salvage, that ends up being such a better place to put your alpha time to, earn your omega status or keep you in ships. And that mining the Mexilon, actually, I think now that I think about it, we might be seeing the Mexilon prices rising directly because of the heat in the salvage markets, is that we're just not seeing the high sec guys pulling their weight, and we're seeing the shortage because of it. So with as short as we are right now, we could see some real spiky behavior. So if you bought in at 60, then I would hold on. If you are a gambling man, I would aim to get a sub 70 buy order, and hope for 80. And that's sort of the place I'm looking at right now, is that we could, if this shortage continues where we are right now, we could spike up to 80, 85 sometime in the next 14 days, somewhere in that sort of time frame. I think if we actually touch 80, we'll see enough selling off to come off that high. But I think we're going to see an opportunity to make a decent amount of money off the back of Mexilon. So take this with the largest grain of salt, and if you do make money on it, remember that you owe me 10% of the 10% of the profits as a finder's fee. But if you lose all your money, then it's not my fault. Buyer beware. So I think this is a really excellent opportunity to gamble. If you were already bought in, I'd hold for 80. That's my target. So that's what I expect to see. Moving on to Isogen. Isogen is starting to slump. The prices are tracking back down to 65. I know Mr. Strats was talking about this on his stream this last week, that we might be in a local minimum, and unfortunately, I would not buy Isogen yet. The supplies are starting to eke up, and if you need to stockpile, jump in sub 60 if you can. That's fine. But if you're looking to make money, don't be buying Isogen. Isogen is not worth your time. Long-term trend is down. We might see a little bit of upward to get back to 75 if the Mexilon shortage continues. That might start rippling across to other items. Things tend to be that when one domino falls, others seem to, the depression sort of follows through the rest of the market. But that's a super risky risk, and I wouldn't take it. So only buy this if you really need Isogen, and if you really can get a killer buy order at sub 60. Noxium, again, is steady. No reason to think it's not going to be steady at 380. Supplies are a little bit weak, pointing towards positive price pressure. But again, I don't think Noxium is really going to go that many places. I think that the supply chain is strong enough to meet demand, and will only rise if PvP activity rises high enough to justify extra production. Now, Zydrine. Okay, so this is the one that continues to confound me, is that by all accounts, with the way the Rorqual works, with mining in wormholes and mining in nullsec, Zydrine should be in the toilet right now. The only thing propping it up, as far as I can tell, is capital production and capital consumption. But oh my god, at 1300, we are back to our when Fozzie messed with the equations again, making, again, mining a very lucrative job. Now, again, part of it is probably that miners are taking their time to also salvage, which is taking away from mining productivity. But, that we're missing some 40 million units from the market is strange as hell, and I can't figure it out. So, if this trend keeps up and we get back to the 120 million mark, I think we'll come back down off this 1.3 and head to 1.2. I think that we'll need to get all the way back up to 160 million units to really take the wind out of this particular jump. But geez, I don't know where all the Zydrine went. This is weird. There's a big buyout of some 40 million units a few weeks ago, and I just don't know where it's going, or who's using it, or what exactly is going on. This continues to go completely backwards from my models. So if you have information, I'd love to hear it, because usually I can work this out, but we are completely pants on backwards here. Megasite, where Zydrine goes, Megasite is going to go the same place. They each lead each other. And we're up at 1.6. Again, we're seeing that shortage of about 20 million units missing from the orders. And buy pressure continuing to rise, pointing at a possible another spike this weekend. Again, gamblers, this is a great chance to jump on. I think it's risky getting up to 1.7. Trying to get the 1.6 to 1.7 jump isn't really that much to make money on. I think you'd really have to hit 1.8 to make it worth your while, right? That's a little more than 10%. Yeah. So like this points to the supply, like looking at the Zydrine graph and looking at the Megasite graph, signs point to supply chains recovering, but we're in a really weak, unstable spot that makes it hard to predict exactly where we're going. And then last but certainly not least, Morphite. This has been my long-term bet that if Morphite's sub 10, you buy it, and if it's over 10, you sell it. It's been a reasonably good performer for me in the past. I had expected it to drop below 10K this week with the way that the war metrics have been going on, but we've seen the prices start to spike up again. So if you followed my advice and got some buy orders in around the first, after the last bump, we could be looking at another chance to sell this weekend. Supplies are extremely short, so if you're watching this live, buy up any bit that's under 10K. Absolutely. The supply chains are getting short, and really the story of the week is that all boats are rising. We're seeing a lot of prices trending upwards. I haven't seen such a week where, when I ran the analytics, like 80% of the flags were on the positive side, as opposed to a usual 50-50 split between positive and negative trends. This is a great chance to go jump in, make a few extra bucks. It's hard to pick a loser in the field right now. I would stay out of ships. I would trend towards materials. So your moon materials, your wormhole materials, your minerals, your salvage, maybe some T1 ships if you know what you're doing. I would stay away from like the high meta stuff with like Macarials and rattlesnakes and that kind of stuff. But if you buy in this weekend, unless you do it really poorly, which, I mean, I'm the poster child for doing it really poorly, you probably will come out on top no matter how you pick. Just, it's a matter of how much. It's going to be a really good weekend for trading, is, I guess, the long and short of it. Moving on to fuel. The surprise in fuel this week is nitrogen isotopes. I think this is Imperium restocking their supplies and getting their moon operations reconstructed. We saw prices extremely weak after the Ascension release, and prices are tracking back up across the board towards 700 happy place. I think that this particular bubble is going to overshoot and then sell off. So again, it's a decent chance to gamble, but I don't think you're going to make that much money on the gamble. The trends again seem to be positive. Again, I'm going to blame them on salvage. and just call that. Continue to see strength in the oxygen isotopes is actually a little higher than I expected, but nothing out of the ordinary. And then moving on to fuel blocks, Caldari fuel blocks are just through the roof this week. But I expect this to normalize back down to sane levels in the next over the weekend. So I wouldn't trade on this particular line here. Looking at strontium, again, this is sort of one of our canaries for warfare. We're seeing a big buyout of strontium, which could be the lead up to, it's either a restocking of coffers post-war, or it's an initialization to buy in for the next stage of war. Either way, this is a positive trend if you're watching Sov warfare. Strontium goes into Sov warfare, man. Like, this is a sign that something big could be on the horizon. And also, along with that, we're seeing heavy water supplies get a little bit short. Again, this is another one of those. Since this is going to go into the Bard charges, this is another signal of big fights coming down the pipe, and or restocking coffers. So I would be prepared for some big fights in the next 10 days. Moving on to outlier analysis. Looking at the advanced material markets, metamaterials continue to track up, which is good news for reactors. And actually, we're starting to see some of my favorite trends, positive trends in the middle markets of nanotransistors, hypersynaptic fibers, phenolic composites, and fulleриdes are all tracking up. These are great indicators, and my advice on these markets is it's an excellent arbitrage opportunity if you're willing to do the work. It's as much as Imperium might be self-supplying, moon materials continue to be the hardest part of that self-sufficiency chain. And if they're being more productive and more stuff is getting destroyed and the gears of war are turning, more Tech 2 is going to get consumed. And these positive trends in the middle markets tell me that this is a great time to be jumping into those moon markets for speculation. So if I had the free time, man, I would be playing this big time for big money. If we zoom in on markets like neodymium, I believe that's an R64, and prices have almost doubled over the last 2 weeks, and supplies have basically halved, and this will reflect in the nanotransistors market basically directly, but tends to be at a lag and not at 100% efficiency. So these are the sort of things I'd be looking for. Like, I love these deep buy order dips, for instance. Jumping in on this market, like if it were me, I'd be buying here. Now, I don't think, again, if you were watching 2 or 3 months ago, I went on like a 10-minute spiel about how I would speculate in the moon markets, and then completely missed the mark. So buyer beware. This is what I would do. This is a particular favorite market of mine. Please do your research. I'm not responsible for losses. Again, another big canary in our analysis is bombers, and we can see buys going way up. Manticores and Hounds are extremely popular. Purifiers are still popular. Nemesis aren't so much, but that's kind of expected. They're not the best. They have a niche, and I don't remember what it was. So this is a great sign for the traditional war people. With bombers going up, I would expect extended extended SOV warfare operations, where the last chapter of the war up to now has been sort of skirmishy, sort of trying to just blast in and take easy targets. This points to the sort of like hourly fleets, pap links kind of SOV warfare in my book. Again, that's just my gut, so your mileage may vary. Another one that's way down this week is kestrels, which even more so than the minerals would make you think. These do remember that these basically have no, it's either no Zydrine or no Megasite. I don't remember which. So prices are down. There's a big sell-off, it looks like. So this would be a decent chance to buy in if you were an amateur investor. If you're just looking to try your hand into the weekend, kestrels might be a decent place to do that at, what is that, 400K? Can't tell if it's 40 or 400. 400K. I wouldn't buy over 400, so it looks more like a big sell-off, but kestrels are an important ship, and they're popular with alphas, so I think this is a good buy opportunity. Hyenas are another interesting one. The electronic attack frigates have a special place in my heart. The prices are trending way up, and the only advice I have on here is if you're a producer, don't go chasing this. It's very easy to overproduce this market, and what tends to happen in these markets is that things stay steady, then there's a big buyout suddenly, and then producers will flood into the market and tank the market. So if I were a trader, I'd be looking for sub 20 million hyenas. Something in the somewhere between 18 and 21 million would be the buy orders I would put out, just to snatch them up and wait for an overcorrection. But I would not produce into this, because you're going to come to market a week later and the market's going to be back down at 20 and you're going to feel like an asshole. Another interesting one this week, not a super big market, but the Roke has been popular lately. I haven't seen any reports that it's in any major metas yet, and seeing as the volume is staying at about a peak of 80 units sold a day, I don't think that it's a major meta, but supplies are getting just on the tight, a little on the tight side, and if you were going to produce 1 or 2 or 5 really quickly off of maybe a cheap BPC, this might be a decent way to make a couple of bucks. Another interesting one, again, I am behind on the meta, that mobile cyno inhibitors are hot at the moment. With the trend towards bigger and bigger engagements, and if you are expecting that I'm right about the super cap meta, mobile cyno inhibitors might be a decent thing to be stocking up on. They're a little high at the moment. I'd be building into this particular rise if you can, but I think these are going to become a more important tool in the next month-ish, and it's also a popular Reddit meme at the moment. So I think they're a useful tool. They're a little fragile is kind of the problem. So I think that in the 3 to 6 month trajectory that I would keep a close eye on them, especially if we're going to see higher engagements in the capital and super capital realms. But like, that's less helpful than Hectors and Dictors and all the other countermeasures. Also, I don't know if you can bloop out of them. You probably can. If you had a bloop with you, you probably could get out of it. So I don't know. I want to believe. Moving on to our week over week tracking, Stratios has been tracking down, but supplies are looking a little thin. This would be another gamble in my book. A 200 million Stratios is not a bad buy-in. But trying to get over 225, trying to hit like the 230 mark is where I'd want to sell it. And that's less sure. So, again, if you're a gambling person, I think it's a decent signal here with the shortage and the low prices. But it's 50-50. And then Macarials, we see, I love the trend on Macarials is that a big fleet happens, a side gets whelped, they have to buy to resupply, the price spikes, the volume dips, and then the supply chain returns to the same level it was really quickly. At sub 320, this would be a decent chance to jump in to be stocked up for the next whelp, especially if, again, I'm right about standing up for bigger SOV warfare operations. I think that the supplies can get a little bit stronger and the price can go a little bit lower. I'd be shooting for 300 just to get greedy, because then at 360 that's 20%. I would keep a close eye on this. I think it's a good chance to buy in sometime in the next week. We'll just have to see where the supplies go, and if the big deployment actually starts moving up. And then last but certainly not least, our violence report, just looking at the most popular ships and places to lose them. We're seeing, again, ignore the dip, that's a bug. The mix is about what you expect. Nothing super exciting here in the list of things that got exploded. The values are a little bit hot this last weekend, but I think they're going to be a lot hotter in the next 2 weeks. Again, the mix isn't, I'm just sort of shocked the mix isn't very interesting, except for the number of Gilas dying. Looking at active solar systems, not a lot of interesting things going on here. In fact, it's a little colder than usual on the system front. A little bit that we're washed out thanks to F4, but things are staying pretty steady there. And then our region mix is about what we expect, with Ketch leading the charge for places to die. Again, nothing really jumping out to me in this graph, other than being just a little bit under the count number than I'd expect. But again, I'm missing a day's worth of data. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the show. I want to thank everybody who tuned in live. We are live again every week. We're live every week at 0400 on Friday nights. That's Thursday night U.S. time. We stream to both YouTube and Twitch, so be sure to subscribe. So that you can be notified when the shows are coming up. Also for our office hours streams, which tend to be a little bit off the cuff, I am trying to get more of those into the rotation for you guys, so we can I can answer more of your questions, be more available, have a little bit more screen time with the European friends, and so be sure to be subscribed, because I don't have a set schedule for those. If you enjoy the show, be sure to stop by our Patreon. Our patrons keep the show on the air every week. With their support, keeps our servers running, keeps us in hardware, keeps our software paid for, makes this show possible, makes it so that I can do what needs to be done to make this show happen every week. So I got to thank our patrons. Even $1 goes an extremely long way to provide the show ad-free to the community every week. We don't gate any of our content or any of our data, well, except that because I can't share it because I'm bad. But we keep the doors open thanks to our patrons. If you can't support us financially, which I totally understand, do be sure to subscribe. I do like seeing the numbers go up and to the right, and your subscription helps make those numbers bigger. And being an economics show, I like bigger numbers. You can follow us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog at Eve Prosper. And be sure to tune in next week when we'll talk about, hopefully, the next big phase of the Winter War. Knock on wood. And with that, that's a show. All right. I owe somebody an unbanning. And Twitch does not make this easy. I bet I can just go back up. Can I? Pretty please. You. Can I unban that button? Jesus, Twitch, your UI fucking blows. No. What do the buttons do, you piece of shit? Fuck you, Twitch. Hosts, do the things, authorize broadcasters, auto mod. Oh, there we go. Yeah, can I unban him? You're gonna make me Google this, aren't you? Okay, I figured it out. I'm sorry, Scarecrow. It was a dick thing, but buttons, man. There we go. All right. Also, Guybrush, I love your chat name. That was the best thing in my alerts this week. Freaking love the name. All right. All right, so let's see. There were questions earlier in the thing. Duckfoda is asking about making graphs. So it's complicated, though it's getting better. The old project, the V1 of the project, is on my personal GitHub as Eve Market Analysis, which has all of our scrapers as they exist today and the statistical project. Right now, I'm trying to go through a big V2 push on the Eve Prosper GitHub to bring up the project all together as a big V2 push that where everything works similarly and it's not a complete bear and a half to manage. Where we actually follow best practices and have tests and have things that alert and do all of the big boy production code stuff, so that as we go forward, it just runs and it doesn't require my constant, immediate, direct attention, and only I can solve the problems because I'm the only one who knows what all the secret handshakes were. So that's where we are on that project. If you wanted to see our latest, I did publish, I have been pushing the Prosper Slides project, which is getting closer to being able to render our data, except that you still need access to our databases, which I can't just hand out because they're just MySQL tables, and I'm not prepared to just hand out login credentials to that shit. I need to give you guys a UI. If I can get to the point, like the goal is to get to the point where I can replace the database connection with a externally facing REST so that you could do the same graphs we do. But I gotta, I have to automate the show. That's number one. Because that's the number one reason I cancel shows is that I just don't have the slide deck ready. Is that I could delay, or we could just do a truncated show if I had stuff to present, because I'm I'd like to think that I'm halfway decent at improvising this stuff. But if I have to sit there and do 2 hours worth of pulling data and running the scrapers and then fighting with Google Docs because the latest update broke my shit, then then when I'm already having a long week, the last thing I want to do is come home at with 30 minutes before I have to be on the air and be like, oh fuck, I got to make a goddamn show with the stupid shit and I just can't even deal with it. I'm going to go drink. Cause I'm still just a guy and oh my God, I'm so busy at work. I feel like an asshole at work. I'm writing tests for my test framework. I'm testing the tester that tests tests. I feel like that my life has gone full circle. That one of the fights I had at the last job, we were basically having old school versus new school, where all of the new school engineers were sick and fucking tired of how shitty our code base was and decided to actually go learn how to become software developers. And we're like, oh, maybe we should come up with a coding standard. Maybe we should come up with some decent best practices so we stop fixing the same bullshit every fucking quarter and actually get some work done. To which the old guard are like, no, why would we change? We've been failing like this for 10 years. Why would I do anything differently when it's got me this far? When the way I've done it got me up to senior engineer. I'm like, because then none of us will be senior engineers. So one of the fights was about trying to build test code. And we were trying to say, look, there's all of this framework shit that runs our hardware and everything. And yeah, okay, our department is test and our business is test. Why would we test our tests? That seems asinine. But so much of the things rely on black voodoo magic, and they fail. The stuff that fails the 8 things out of 10 are the same shit we've dealt with 100 times. That was the failures we dealt with. We're like, oh, guess what? We ate another lot because it came in before the new reticle was released. And we just burned that material and now we can't get it back. And now we have to eat a whole bunch of shit with our customer because they're not going to get the data they wanted. What if we had a test that actually panicked and made sure that wouldn't happen? Nah, it'll never happen again. We all remember how shitty this was this time. 3 months later, the exact same fucking thing, just on a different part. Like, oh my fucking God. So at work, I'm writing a test framework. I'm writing the ability to do very small performance tests. So you can do something like generate file. Like you want to figure out how long it takes to generate 1,000,000 file hashes. Well, and you want to run it on real hardware. Cool. We have the automation running on real hardware already. But doing little itty bitty tests like that is a real pain in the ass. Like, why would I start up the whole thing to run a 2-minute test? Like, it takes like 20 minutes to get all the way through automation between standing up machines and installing ISOs and booting up and collecting data, shutting down, making sure it runs, make sure everything comes out, generating a report. It takes like 20 minutes. Why would I do 20 minutes of automation for a 1-minute test? But why would I do 20 minutes worth of automation for 2 hours of 1-minute tests is a completely different thing. And that's what I'm trying to build up so that you can write, so that developers can go write whatever it is their stupid test needs to do, whether that's generate hashes or mess with applications on the box or eat up a bunch of the RAM, and I don't fucking know. It's not my business to know what they want to do. I just need to make sure that they can do what they want to do. And so I'm so close to releasing it, but the very last thing I want to do is release a coding framework and then start getting the requests of like, so I did what you said, and now my thing isn't coming back and I have no data. What do? Because then I'll just quit my job. That was the worst part of the last job, was like, yeah, I don't know where my data is because something in the automation chain broke. Like, either the data wasn't collected or it wasn't parsed, so it needs to be reparsed, or the test didn't run the branch you thought it did. Like, there were a million little fucking things that would go wrong. And it all came down to like, where's my data? And then I'd have to go spend an entire fucking day unfucking their data, and instead of actually doing real work. So that's what I don't want to do. I want whatever happens to go wrong to be like, I don't know, it generated an error report there, and you got the first pieces of data, but not the next pieces of data, which means that like about here in your flow is where things fell apart. But my infrastructure fucking works. Like nothing went wrong with the infrastructure. I want whatever happens to be their test, not my infrastructure. So I was hoping more questions would come in because I swear I'm putting people to sleep with my dev fleet stuff. I get super excited about it, but I know it is super boring. Oh, I forgot to mention it. I meant to do at the end of the thing that we do have the Discord. Join the Discord. Words. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. You can always ask questions. I do try to go through the chat at the end of the show. I just went straight into the thing without doing the thing. So, and I'm sorry, Scarecrow. I'm sorry. Picking P4s. Okay, let's play that game. So let me get the thing up. And we go in here and we go to that one. So you want to produce? And the jackdaw. So when it comes to P4 production, I have a particular affinity for broadcast nodes, but that's just gut. That's not reality. Nanofactories look like they're trending up. Let's go look. Then we got to do this the hard way. So broadcast nodes. Broadcast nodes look a little positive. Integrity response drones. Don't do integrity response drones. Nanofactory could be good. Like, Nanofactory isn't bad. Yeah, Nanofactory might be the thing to do in the short term, but you might have to change. That's not the right one. That's the right one. Organic mortar applicators. Don't do organic mortars. Recursive computing. Don't do recursive computing. Self-harmonizing power cores. Don't do self-harmonizing power cores. Actually, that might be a decent buy-in, though, if you wanted to speculate. Sterile conduits are washed out, but I wouldn't do sterile conduits. And wetwares. Wetwares 50-50. So I would... So the secret to industrial success is to be flexible. Don't expect to just print something off and constantly make money. You're going to be better served being able to move to the best thing week to week. But let's see. I said broadcast nodes and nanofactories were the best ones to be looking at, and maybe recursive self-harmony. One of these, I forgot what the third one I said was, but broadcast nodes and nanofactories were top of my heap for things worth looking into. Next question was from okay, Resident Billy. We're not talking about PI command centers. I thought they're still generated by NPCs, so there's nothing to talk about that's really big, right? Like, and even if they are, they never trigger the high and low swings, so it's not generally useful as a market indicator, in my opinion. And Napster, the idea is that you'd change maybe every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I wouldn't change every single week. Just that be prepared to be flexible. You can't either that's generating, having stuff set up for the things to do things. So because the tides will ebb and flow, and you just need to be prepared to drop losers and pick new winners is just the way it goes. Lost Art of War. We will talk about Prosper as a hobby in a minute after I get through the technical questions. Emil is asking if there's anything interesting in the loyalty dependent markets. I didn't see anything jump out at me. The only one that's really been on the top of my radar is Vexor Navy Issues. Come on, not that one. Vexor Navy Issues, which are popular in the meta right now. But that's the only major one in my book right now. Rattlesnake is asking about jackdaws. So let's go look at that. Tactical destroyers. I mean, jackdaws are less interesting than Svipals suddenly finding their asses again. I should have caught this before putting it in the. I should have put this one in the show. Oh well. So at least there's that. It's. I don't know what's going on. I thought the Svipal was nerfed into the ground, but when it comes to this high end meta, I just don't have my ear to the ground the way I used to. Loud Noises is asking about staying liquid. So when it comes to accounting practices, my habits are bad. Is that I like having a lot of cash leveraged, and working. So this goes directly against my don't stockpile thing when it comes to day trading. But that comes from doing production, because production is I turn cash into more cash, and so the more cash that is working, the more money I'm making. So as far as keeping liquid, when it comes to day trading, I was more of a 50-50 kind of person. But that's more because I don't trust myself for heavy day trading, because it becomes very difficult for me to keep up the pace. And if you miss a weekend or two, it can be really hard to realign your stockpiles if you're not in it every day, and you could be ending up with some losers that never came back, and then you got to eat the prices on that. And so that's how I feel there. And of course, get a service to track it for you. I do like Eve Mogul, but they also do serve one of my data feeds. So yeah. PI can be 8KS. Vegeta price goes 60. Should only be 1 day out of whack, at most. As far as, so we don't track production margins is sort of the thing, and your question is the same question of why are skills more expensive in Jita than anywhere else? And it's because a push button receive bacon. That if I am setting up if I'm going to go set up, if I'm going to do high grade PI, I should expect to have an operating purse at 1 billion ISK or maybe even close to 2 per character doing PI4 stuff. And so what do I care at 1 billion ISK if I spend twice as much as I should on command centers? Like, it is convenience fee, and just because the margin is 50% just means that's what people are willing to pay for the convenience of having it there right now. A similar one, if you want to look at one that has weird margin, and I'm not sure if this is still the case, but it probably is. RAM modules for Tech 2 production tend to lead with about a 15% margin over build cost. And it's because Tech 2 producers are coming in and saying, well, look, my production bill is for the set of ships is 500 million ISK. The RAM bill of that is, if I build it myself, then it's maybe 5 million ISK. If I buy it from the market, it's 8 million ISK. Fuck it. My time is worth 3 million ISK. And that's sort of the thing we're seeing there. And Enmol, I don't know. I don't think my data's out of date. We can run it again right now. It'll take a second. Oh, that one is out of date. Let's go to the RDP. RDP can run it. I do have it on here, yeah? You're not going to post it at the right place, but that's fine. No, I lied. We're skipping all the shit. Do it live! Okay, we go here. We go down here. Oh, don't tell me you're the old version. Why are you the old version? Ah, fuck me. Uh, 2017-01-10-09. This is going to cause a problem if I don't fix this. All right, we are looking at T3D, T3BC. Oh no, it pulls everything. Never mind. We'll just plot the whole fucking thing. Never mind. Well, so Resident Billy, the thing is that though percent margin, though when you're new, percent margin is everything. Like I completely understand that when you have 10 million ISK to your name, that every ISK matters. And as a new player trying to get your foot in the door, there's a lot of high effort, high margin things that can be done that you're basically doing all the services for the people who don't have the time to do it. Like, and you can profit off of that laziness. There is absolutely nothing wrong with laziness taxes. But as you get up the chain, you really need to be thinking about how much ISK per unit of playtime am I really making? And that conversion doesn't happen instantaneously. That takes some work and understanding the metas of what you're working with and improving your process and understanding the mechanics and all that goodness. But there comes a point where you're saying, well, man, I guess I could go fly over there and save myself. Like, I get that it's a 50% markup, but like a 50% markup on a 100K item when I'm already spending 1 billion ISK, I give no shits. Like at some point you have to draw the line and say, look, I'm going to go make, for this 1 billion ISK, I'm going to make 20% off that, off of that ISK. Off of the 200 million in profit I expect to bring home, what do I care if I lose 2 million of it? Okay, so I make 198 million. That's 19.8%. Cool. I didn't have to spend an hour hunting down parts. That's an hour I can be doing anything else. That's what it sort of breaks down to. And so you'll see these markets of convenience pop up. JITA for skills is a big one. There tends to be like a 15% or more markup on skills, and I'm one of those people who pays the margin on that because I do not have the time to be flying all over creation, especially for stuff that's like regionally locked or loyalty point store sort of stuff. the blueprints can be that way, but people are usually willing to go travel for blueprints anyway, so you get less margin there. There's a lot of production places that are like producing for producers kind of things, where higher grade producers have decided, I don't care about that margin. And so there's things like advanced components like capacitors and armor plates and microprocessors. There's things like RAM. There's things like the T1. The T1 market, I'd be willing to bet about 50% of the T1 market in JITA goes straight into Tech 2 production. And it's things like there that as a lower skill player, as a lower net worth player, you can make big bucks off of their laziness, and profit with reasonably low effort if you know what you're looking for. So that's why the prices get so out of whack. More questions? Any more questions? Because if you don't ask questions, I rant about Python, and nobody wants that. And we're gonna have to wait another 5 minutes for the Jackdaw plot to show up. Because I don't have it in here. I should have it in here. Duck Foda, holy crap, you are asking a loaded question. I'm gonna go. I have a blog rattling around my head. I just can't get the word count down to actually be low enough to make it readable. Otherwise, I'm just gonna ramble for like 1,000 words and no one will read it. So the way I think of it is. Oh, fuck you, thing. You didn't plot. Okay, if you're going to be that way. Don't get me started on that fucking C shit, okay? We're not playing that game. So the way I think of it is that R in the streets and Python and R in the sheets and Python on the streets. So R is extremely powerful for research. When you really just positively want to get in at something and start slicing and dicing and figure out what the hell is going on, R is an amazing tool. As long as you already have your pipeline together to pipe the data into it, you can, and you have enough RAM to handle the data, which is its own problem. You can do amazing things with R, where you can slice the data the way you need it. You can sample the data. You can build up displays extremely easily. The graphing ggplot as a graphing API is incredible, and it's extremely powerful for like weekend hacking when it comes to this project. Where if I have an idea and I want to build up a plot, like it's a day's worth of hacking on it to get it shaped correctly, and then the plot looking the way I want to, and then now I have one button I just press and I can generate those plots. And I can have it every week, no problem. That problem's solved. The problem with R comes in productization, is that it is amazing as a one-off what-if project, but it is god fucking awful as a production product. So things like it doesn't isolate variables, for instance. It's like a giant bash script. So, for instance, if I run each one of these tabs here, this variable list is a global variable list. Variables don't have scopes. So it's very easy to write one or two scripts and then somehow be relying on a variable that's out of scope and not realize it. And that there you go. There's Eve. It's very easy to rely on a variable that's out of scope and then just eat your hat when your shit crashes in the least useful way possible. So the nice thing is that if you're following things, if you're doing productization, the traditional way to do it is that you experiment in R. You do all of the heavy lifting you're going to do. You figure out, well, what sort of sampling do I need to do? And what sort of statistical analysis do I want to do? And how do I want to slice the data? And which data do I want to just drop out of the analysis altogether? And you do all of that work in R just to understand your problem space, because frankly, that's the biggest problem with big data, is that there are just so many questions and you have to get to the bottom of them to go forward, because you don't run this in production. Then it's easy to go from R into pandas as a product environment. Now, if you're a real try-hard R guy, there are tools like Shiny, and there's integrations with SQL Server that you can do. So the productization stack is looking better every year. But you can't beat the fact that like there's no error checking in R. Like you don't do try excepts in R. So what happens when the database goes down and you're trying to do analysis? Do you just let it die? Like, where's the logging go? There's no logging. There's no testing the scripts. They either work or they don't. Like, there's very little recycled code when it comes down to it. And writing functions just sucks. So I use it to understand my problems, to gain the intuition I need to get the work done. And then I go to Python to do the real work. And Python as a platform is extremely powerful. If you once you know what you're doing, the being able to understand doing setup.pys correctly, for instance, means that I have testing integrated into the build. I can build and distribute packages from my box to other people's boxes. I can make it robust so that it can run on a Linux cluster and use all the power of Linux to make sure that it doesn't die and just actually works. And I mean, if Python's not your thing, C# is fine, but C# is Windows, and though they have opened up the .NET framework to Linux, I've never written any C#, so I don't have many opinions about it. And the problem with Perl is a similar problem for as R. So Perl at least has some scoping. It's just that using RStudio is a much more powerful tool than Perl. And then Perl's also for old people, and the libraries are way out of date, and there's the Perl 32-bit gets in your fucking way. Like, I know that you can use Perl, and Perl is for hackers, but Perl 6 months ago fucking sucks. No matter what you write, in 6 months it sucks. So you solve your problem today so that you can hate yourself in 6 months and go, what the hell was I even thinking? So, and then C is a compiled language, and though you will run 100 times faster, well, not faster per se, you'll run with 100 times less RAM with a C solution, you really need to know what your problem is. Like, you really need to know what your solution is in C. Experimenting in C fucking sucks. Like, you wouldn't want to like figure out like you wouldn't want to come in with a raw data set that you knew nothing about and process it in C, because setting up the tool chain is just so shitty. Like, you have to be like, oh well, I need to process a CSV. Well, I better incorporate a library into my make file, and oh, my make file isn't working, so I better go work on that. And like, for all of the speed you get at the end, you're gonna spend like 10 times the development cycle just getting the C to work. I absolutely, completely, 110% agree that, you know, when it comes to C for speed, like, I get it that you're academically correct, but if that's your argument in an actual development meeting, I'm going to call you an asshole. Like, if I work with you IRL and you tell me that some product has to be in C for speed, and it's not actually going down to the kernel level, then fuck you. I am not writing make files. I am not. I'm not. If I never have to write another Smalloc, it'll be too fucking soon. Oh, Rattlesnake, you want so I have a video for you. You want Fuzzy Steve's presentations, that one, and he had one more. That's the other one. Our glorious bearded CSM, Fuzzy Steve, has all the notes you need about making the best Eve spreadsheets ever. So we get, and Duck, we get our data from Crest, from Eve Central, though I want to remove that so I can use Crest on there. And Z Killboard are our three major data sources. I'd like to add ESI, but OAuth. I have to figure out a solution for that. And yeah, when it comes to compiled languages, I mean, Java is a better API, but if I never have to write another compiled language, I'm going to count myself lucky. Like, unless I really have to. I don't like compiled languages. They end up being a lot of extra work for really marginal gains. And unless your project really needs it, like, when it comes to amateur work, like, Python just sings, and C# isn't bad either. Like, if you have to be in a language, like, the stuff I've seen from C# is pretty skookum, especially if you want to put together like a UI in building a desktop application in C# seems like so easy it's cheating. So, like, maybe that's fine. I just don't use C# personally, not out of particular malice. It's just that Python has all of the, yeah, that's why when I took this job, I knew the guy who I was going to be working for, and he sold me on, I got to be a test architect, so I get to write the shitty frameworks, and I get to write the legacy, and it's going slowly. So as long as they still have patience for how fucking slow this is taking, then I'm winning. Like, I'm living the fucking development dream over here. So yeah, and like I've been really enjoying, as far as other podcasts go. Talk Python to me is excellent. Data Skeptic is excellent if you want to know about some of the some of the data science problems and how they're being solved. Data Skeptic is excellent. I just started listening to Partially Derivative. They're also a data sciencey podcast. I do love the data science project sphere, and really Python's at the head of that with things like Fortran and Go. Um, and so those are the problems I want to be solving. So you pick the tool that solves the thing. Like, I don't know if there's a data frame project in C#. Like, that's, but pandas and R are best buddies. So in JavaScript, like, I've written a little bit of it, but man, I am bad at it. I am so bad at JavaScript. I just do not. I am not good enough for JavaScript. I suck at JavaScript. It always. Just trying to get the motherfucker to hello world is such a pain in the ass. I don't know how anyone actually gets JavaScript running. That shit is black magic. We recently hired a UI, a lady who does UI, and her stuff is super amazing. And I know that all she's doing is like Bootstrap and a little bit of JavaScript to get all the pieces to come together and like pull from the right places and hit the right databases. But she stands it up so quickly, and I feel like I watch her bring it up, and she's just like, and then you do this and you do this, and I'm like, I could not get any of that to work, even though Bootstrap is supposed to be like pants on head for engineers who don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's why every website looks the same these days. They're all Bootstrap pages. I couldn't even get Bootstrap to run correctly, because all I want to do is like markdown and templatize and hit the databases and make a freaking graph on the page, and like I can get the individual blocks, but like I go to put them together and I put like the star shape and the square hole, and it never fucking works. Blake Armitage over at K162 Space keeps showing me his UI stuff that he keeps pulling together for IRL market watching, and I'm just like, this isn't. How come that's so easy? Like I can stand up a REST API that installs. I can build an installer for a REST API that can keep running with 3 months of no downtime. The OHLC feed that we have on Eve Mogul has not gone down for 3 months, despite the fact that we've moved physical hosts, despite the fact that we're on a home lab that reboots like twice a week. I don't have to think about it because it comes back automatically, and the feed just works because I built an installer for it, and Flask is amazing even if it's only single-threaded, and I have to figure out Gunicorn. I still need to figure out Dockerizing is the last thing on that production chain, but like you do the right things after nobody fucking teaches you this shit. And it just works. It's amazing. My life is so much easier now that I'm doing it the right way as opposed to faking it till I make it. And like I'm perfectly prepared to build an entire REST architecture that does webhooks and pushes our raw data out over the web, but I cannot, for the life of me, get it to render in a fucking web page for you people. And I've tried. I've really tried. I'm super embarrassed about it. But yeah, like right now, the latest app we just built up. And somebody was asking about Jackdaws. I owe you a thing about Jackdaws. That one. Hopefully it actually rendered. I mean, the party seems to be over with Jackdaws, but whatever. But like I mean, even writing CLI apps, that's the latest thing I just put together. Here, I can show you my, let's see, here we go. So I can go in here, I can go to Prosper Slides, and then I can do Python that -v, and like it just works, and I get this pretty little status bar that gets screwed up because of my logging, but whatever, like it just works. And it was a day's worth of work to get, okay, it was 3 days worth of work and 3 days worth of research, but got all running, and it just works. And like this just takes 10 minutes to run and pumps out everything in the right order. I still have to hook it up so that it actually generates the slideshow correctly. This was the first half of the project. I think this is going to have to be my last question, is from Duckfoda about oh, sorry, one more thing before I do the thing. Brett Wallison is saying that you're welcome for the Python information. If you want to know more, do join the Discord, and if you want to learn by doing, be sure to stay tuned, because I will be doing Plex for Code, because I do need some help, and I'm trying to put my problems together in ways so that there's like entry level, medium, and advanced sort of things to work on. What am I looking for in my graphs? There's a few things. The TLDR is going to be the big things I look for. Oops, that's today. What? Yesterday. The big things I look for as major spoilers is this bottom blue line is covered up by the client, that button. This bottom blue line is sell volume, and that tells you how many orders are on the market. So if you're thinking about your supply and demand, this is your supply line. As this goes down, prices tend to trend up. So that's the first piece of it. The second piece is I'm looking for, there's a couple of signals I look for in price. I wish can I draw on the thing? So just green, there we go. So the sort of shapes I'm looking for are things like this, because I expect things to overcorrect. That's actually one of the biggest ones I end up looking for. But basically it's this piece down here and this piece down here. Oh, and then is there a reset everything? And then I'm looking for the distance here is another major indicator. Looking for 10% is basically the margin I'm looking for. So the trend I want to see is either flat or starting to rise. Are these sort of shapes I'm looking for? And I'm looking to get in a cheap buy order if I can possibly do it. So I'm looking to see that things are, if I'm picking here, this is a hard place to say. I mean, the margin's really good. Here, we're going to start over. And I need to do a real show about this at some point. But like if we're coming through time and we say, and you ask me, what am I going to do about the prices here? Well, I mean, this margin right here is tempting because we're sub 1 billion. That's starting to look like enough room to do work in, right? The next thing I'm going to look at is how much supply are we looking at? And for Plex specifically, The magic number I'm looking for is 1,000. So right there. So if I'm above this line, I expect that to be a downward trend. If I'm below the line, I expect it to be an upward trend, right? That supplies are high, prices will be low. Supplies are low, prices will be high. That's the sort of thought I'm going on here. And Plex is special, so that's a little bit weird. Whereas like, so here would be a really weak buy signal, right? Like, I see enough margin here to be tempting, so that to put a buy order, like, what's the worst that happens? I get a sub-billion-esque buy order, like, woo, go me. But it would be really tentative because the pressure here says to me that prices are going to go down. But you ask me here, well, all of a sudden we are under the bar. So price trends are up. And I think here is where Econ Report was. So there was a dev blog right there, which proved me wrong for my original assumption. So that's why here I expect that sort of behavior. But here I expect this sort of behavior. Actually, I expected this sort of behavior down to 950 before the numbers came out. So that's what I'm looking for. And you could do this without my fancy graphs. It's hard to set exactly what the level to expect is. Oops. Nope. Cancel. Go back. It's hard to set, like, sorry. I can draw. Come on, thing. It's hard to do this magic without the graphs, right? Like, it's hard to specifically say what's high and what's low without the graphs. But like Tritanium's another favorite. Let's actually look at, is Tritanium doing the weird thing? No, that's not as weird. Isogen, I don't give a shit about Isogen. Mexilon, though, I do care about Mexilon. But like Mexilon, for instance, I'm looking at this and I say, okay, well, the billion line here, that's interesting, right? And maybe that's even setting it a little high, right? Like if I were more conservative, I might actually set it. I might set it down here at 500 million units. But let's say what I'm looking for as a trader, just as a stats guy, more so than a trader, is I'm looking for, like, where's my median? And if I'm below that median, I expect prices to go up because we should be in shortage. Another thing worth sort of noting is these are sort of weak signals that when buy orders get particularly hot, that can be a demand signal. This tends to be less reliable. This is the last thing I'll look at here. Another thing would be like I said, if I'm looking at the billion line, if you looked here, well, margin's super thin, right? Like, this is not a buy at sub 60. If I looked at it right here, right? Like, this says it's going to be straight, no problem, nothing to look at. I look here, and well, I'm really short. I'm really short. But, like, as we get down to the bottom here, I mean, you're dividing by zero, right? Like, if we actually hit 0 units, if we actually get all the way down to 0, like, what are we going to do, right? It can't possibly, like, the price can't just divide by 0 and go to infinity. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But as we get lower and lower, we should expect that the steps that we make, like like we see the step here is what? That's a little better than 10% right there. And this right here I think is another 10% up to 80 something. That's like 15% to get to 80. So we had these little steps, bigger step. The problem is the party has to end somewhere. So that's why this gets particularly hard to do. So like this is a 2-week, like I'd be out of this in 2 weeks because these bubbles tend to pop, and that's more of a gut tuning than anything. So with that, it is super late. I have gone over my time for the night. I want to thank everybody who did tune in. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll be up on YouTube very, very soon. If you guys missed anything you want to rewatch, if you ever want some of the graphs, I'm more than happy to share. Do join the Discord and come chat with me off the air. One more time, big sorry to Scarecrow. I was a jerk. I have a cookie. We'll be back next week. Fly safe, guys.